All right, how we doing, everybody? Welcome to CLNS Media's coverage of Day 2 of the NFL Draft. I am Alex Barth, joined by Evan Lazar. Rounds 2 and 3 tonight, powered by betonline.ag. Visit clnsmedia.com/win and use the promo code CLNS50 to get 50% cash back. Evan,
this is my favorite day of the draft.
I was going to say, this is when things get fun.
The Super Bowl for me. You said last night was my Super Bowl. The Patriots.
Well, I meant the whole weekend.
The whole weekend is like a mini, marathon of Super Bowls.
Yep.
But tonight is the night that the Patriots, this is where they do their work, because they're a team that is usually picking at the end of the first round. We got to wait around all night for them to do it. Today, they control this draft right now.
Yep.
5 picks today, league high 5 picks, the most draft capital, whether you want to talk about actual pick location or the max amount of picks. This is a big day for the Patriots. There's a lot of things coming, I think, that are going to excite fans. I think this is going to be one of those drafts, Alex, that it might be one of the more exciting drafts the Patriots have had in a long time.
And especially after, league-wide, not just the Patriots. Yesterday, outside of maybe 2 or 3 picks, was pretty much chalk. It was, not necessarily everybody had a perfect mock draft, but we got more or less what we expected yesterday.
Yeah, and it's not even just about surprises or the excitingness about the draft today or tomorrow, but the players that I think they have a chance to bring in over these next couple of days, along with N'Keal Harry. You're going to have a nice rookie class where we can talk about this for a couple of months leading up to the season about how exciting this group of rookies is.
So, again, it tends to happen draft weekend, especially, with one first-round pick, and then the Patriots have so many. They have 6 picks in the top 101 they'll make, as it's scheduled right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tonight. Right. One final thought before, and not final, because we'll talk about him a lot in the coming months, but one final thought on N'Keal Harry as we kind of move here.
N'Keal Harry. I'm going to get you that name right.
I'm going to do that a little. Right. I'm trying to remember Nickel Roby-Coleman, N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal Harry. I think the biggest thing that still stands out to me with him is really a nice fit of size, but also still the ability to win at the intermediate level. So he still has enough Patriot in him that he's going to succeed, but he also has a little bit of downfield size to win those contested catches. And one thing that Nick Caserio said last night that was interesting is he, out of the blue, unsolicited, brought up Rob Gronkowski's ability to win in contested catch situations. And now they add a guy like Harry that can do that. I think they're pretty aware that they kind of knew that they weren't going to be missing that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think that they were trying to add a little bit of that, even if they don't want to admit it.
All right, now we move on. Day 2, rounds 2 and 3. There's still a lot of good players on the board. Irv Smith, Drew Lock, Will Grier. You got a couple good corners. I think, though, both will be off the board. I think between Greedy Williams, I think is a potential to be the 33rd pick in the draft, and Byron Murphy's the other one, the potential to be the 33rd pick in the draft. And he's there as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's more talent on the board right now than I expected, than I think a lot of people expected at this point.
A ton of really, really good talent. I mean, if we're just talking about at the top of the board, the fact that DK Metcalf and Jawan Taylor made it to day 2. Jawan Taylor obviously has a medical red flag that is knocking him down the board, and I think that it's a little bit of a medical red flag that's knocking DK down the board as well. But you add those two guys into a mix of basically every top corner in the draft still, besides DeAndre Baker, who went last night. You still have Byron Murphy, Greedy Williams, Rock Ya-Sin. I mean, you still have all those guys. Julian Love, Jojuan Williams, who we know a lot of teams like. You have basically all the safeties are still left in the draft. You have Irv Smith, Jay Sternberger, and you also have, other than DK, you have A.J. Brown, you have Deebo Samuel,
JJ.
You have Riley Ridley, you have JJ Arcega-Whiteside, you have Andy Isabella. I mean, you have a lot of really talented players. When I kind of was looking at who are the best fits remaining, I didn't even get to the defensive linemen, Chase Vinovich and Zach Allen. I mean, there's some guys on this board that in other mock drafts around, guys that trusted mock drafts, had them going at the end of the first round.
There's still a lot of first-round talent out there. I just want to remind everybody tonight's coverage is powered by betonline.ag. We are live in Foxborough in the media room at Gillette. We're taking your questions, so feel free to drop those in the chat. We'll kind of, as we go, grab some questions. We're going to take you at least up until the first pick tonight at 7 o'clock, and we'll stay on for a bit. We'll kind of see how it's going. Patriots scheduled to pick at 56, but last night, Nick Caserio seemed to hint at the fact that the Patriots are going to trade up. So let's kind of take a look at the beginning of round 2 right now. You're going to have Arizona picking first, Indianapolis, Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle, Jacksonville, Tampa, Buffalo, Denver, Cincinnati, Detroit, Green Bay, the Rams, Indy again, Carolina, Miami, Cleveland, Minnesota, Tennessee, Denver, Philly, Houston twice, and then the Patriots pick they got from Chicago. I know that's a lot of teams.
That's a lot of teams.
But
a lot of names.
Just so people kind of have a general idea what we're looking at.
Yeah.
You do have Denver in there. They're potentially looking for a quarterback. You do have Green Bay in there. They're potentially looking for a quarterback.
So there's a couple of spots that I kind of picked out before
for the Patriots to potentially trade. So that's what I was going to ask. Like, how early maybe are we looking for the Patriots to move up?
So Oakland has not a ton of picks after the picks that they have currently. They have, I think, a couple of their own picks on day 3, but they don't have as much depth. They had those 3 first-round picks last night, so don't get me wrong, they had a ton of depth in the first round, but they don't have much depth after that now, so they might be moving to look to trade back to add some more picks. They have a ton of holes to fill. We also know that Bill Belichick has a great relationship with Mike Mayock, so if there's a trade to be had there. The other one is Houston has back-to-back picks in the second round. Very seldom do we see teams pick back-to-back.
We saw Seattle last night make that
traded
trade.
out. So I could see Houston, I think, is around like 44 or 45.
No, it was later. Those are the 2 picks before the Patriots. It's 54 and 55.
Okay.
Or are you saying, do they have another pick in there?
I thought Houston was earlier. There's one team I think that's about 10 picks ahead of the Patriots.
Okay, no, Houston's back-to-backs are actually the 2 picks before the Patriots. 54 and 55. I don't know. 10 picks before the Patriots would be the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
And there's the Washington Redskins, I think, have a pick in that range, too. There's definitely some teams that I could see the Patriots moving up into like the mid-40s to get. I think the guys that, if you're talking about guys that they would potentially be targeting in that range, I think that, it's 3 names kind of stand out to me, and that is Irv Smith from Alabama, obviously, the tight end. Dalton Risner, offensive tackle from Kansas State, and Zach Allen, defensive lineman from BC. I kind of see those 3 guys as being guys that they would love to come away from the second round with, and maybe would have to move up a little bit and be a little bit aggressive with it. And really, they wouldn't have to trade all that much, I don't think. I think that they could probably get 10 picks higher with like their 4th round pick or something like that.
And again, drop your questions in the chat. I don't know if it's down below to the side, wherever you're watching. We'll be taking your questions. Going up to the first pick live from Foxborough, powered by betonline.ag. Alex Barth along with Evan Lazar. You mentioned Zach Allen.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of, I'll put the quarterback thing aside because I think we're going to have to do that at times tonight.
Yeah.
My 2 guys, the 2 guys I really like for them here are Irv Smith and Zach Allen.
Yeah.
Zach Allen really popped to me. I knew he was a good player for a while, but you watch the tape from the Clemson game, that was where he really popped to me.
Yeah.
And I just think he would be a fantastic fit and a guy that they don't have on their defense. And we talked about last night with the Jets. Remember Quinnen Williams, very talented player, a bit redundant for the roster. The Patriots tend to try to work away from that.
Yeah.
I don't think that Zach Allen's a guy that's going to be redundant on this roster.
I think they have a 2019 version of Zach Allen and Michael Bennett, but I don't think that they have a beyond that version of Zach Allen.
And I think Zach Allen, I think, could play a little. I think you could probably stand him up too, which I don't know that you're going to do with Bennett.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that. I think the good thing about Zach Allen, obviously, I've been talking about his hand usage and just the repertoire of moves that guy has. I mean, he can throw everything at you from a spin move to like a hump move to like any type of power move that you want. That's great. The versatility is great. I remember talking to him at the Combine about that versatility because I asked him, during the interviews that you've had so far, have teams said, we're going to play you at defensive end, we're going to play you at D tackle? And he's like, it's funny that you asked me that because they're actually saying what we love so much about you is that we don't have to put you in a spot, that we can move you around the formation, that we can move you around the defensive front, the alignment, have you rush from different spots and still have you be effective. That screams Patriots to me, to have a guy that's that versatile, that you can really move inside or outside and still get the same kind of effectiveness from him. He's the prototypical Patriots defensive end on early downs, interior pass rusher on passing third down, that type of stuff.
No, I mean, I think he'd be a fantastic. And again, I'm kind of between him and Smith.
If they come away with N'Keal Harry and Zach Allen as their first 2 picks, I said it in my post today. I'm doing cartwheels in this room.
So I want to talk about the offensive line for a minute because I agree it's a need. I do.
Yeah.
But I think Isaiah Wynn is the left tackle of this team.
I think that last night, by taking a wide receiver at 32, they pretty much told us that.
I think the important need for the Patriots is a swing tackle. That Adrian Waddle guy with Isaiah Wynn coming off of his pretty serious injury, with Marcus Cannon having the injury history he has, is to get that guy that can plug and play, maybe start a couple games a year, maybe play 20 snaps a game, and maybe they go get that guy a veteran in free agency. But I don't know that. And in Patriots, they say they take the best player on the board, so maybe you can throw this aside. I don't know that, given the needs they have, I don't know that the second round is where you go take a swing tackle.
Yeah, so I think that really the thing is that ideally that swing tackle would be a couple of different roles essentially on the team. I think obviously year one it's swing tackle, third tackle, backup, whatever you want to call him. I think that it's an emergency for Isaiah Wynn. If Isaiah Wynn's Achilles doesn't respond the way that we want it to, if he's not the player that we want him to be, we have this guy that can play left tackle in a pinch. The third thing is the right tackle of the future. Right? A guy that could replace Marcus Cannon down the road. I agree with you that after they picked N'Keal Harry last night, unless a guy like one of the studs like Dalton Risner just falls to them and he's the best player on the board by a mile,
and that's
then
fair.
You take him.
I don't know that I'm trading. If I'm the Patriots, I don't know that I'm trading up for Dalton Risner, especially if
he's a primary right tackle guy. He didn't play any left tackle in college. The one guy, there are two guys, but I'll mention one for now, is Bobby Evans from Oklahoma, who was the left tackle last year for the Sooners on the best offensive line in college football. That's something to be said about that. Then Jim McBride, who's walking around here somewhere, did a piece with Bill Belichick at Georgia's Pro Day where they were talking, as actually Alabama's Pro Day, where Bill Belichick just randomly brings up Bobby Evans out of nowhere, talking about his anchor and his core strength and his ability to absorb power, which is fantastic. He also played both left and right tackle at Oklahoma. He played right tackle in 2016 or 2017, then move over to left tackle.
And I believe he didn't miss any games either in that span.
And some people kind of project him as possibly being a guard as well if he doesn't have the foot speed.
We talked about last night about the tackles.
The point is that this is a guy that potentially could play 4 or 5 different spots for you in a pinch. I don't know if he can snap, so I don't know if center is really the answer. But 4 out of 5 spots in a pinch, and he's a very, very fundamentally sound and very, very powerful guy.
And if you guys have any questions for us, thoughts on the draft predictions, put them in the chat. Alex Barth with Evan Lazar live from Gillette Stadium, the media room. I will say about Williams, so we're talking about the offensive line. When you talk about the characteristics you want in that swing tackle, I just, even if Williams falls, I don't know that you take a guy who's a health risk, to back up a guy who's coming off a torn Achilles. That's a guy I would not be surprised to see the Patriots pass on.
Yeah, I think the Patriots have kind of made it clear from this point that they're pretty much passing, at least for now, at this point in the draft, on guys that have injury risks. I think that they want impact players right away. I don't think they want to have to deal with the fact that they draft like a Jawan Taylor, for example, and his knee ends up bumming out, or they draft another guy that has injury concerns, and like a DK Metcalf, for example, and he never gets on the field. They want guys that are durable, that are going to come in and step in and play day one. I don't think that that's...
Availability is the best ability.
Yeah, I think they're going with what we say. They want impact players. They know that they have holes to fill, and they want impact players from this draft.
All right, Alex Barth and Evan Lazar live from Gillette, powered by BetOnline.ag, taking you up to the first pick of the second round. We'll stay live for a little bit. What else are you looking at? All right, let's put the Patriots aside. What else are you looking at? At least early on tonight in the second round, we can get into the other stuff on other broadcasts.
I think that there's going to be a position run at both wide receiver and at safety at some point.
I think corner/safety.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a corner run to start the night.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see, do the Patriots zag in that part of the draft, and where everybody last night, for the most part, was taking defensive players in the front seven specifically. The Patriots that were going to take a wide, one of our probably second best or best wide receiver on our board instead. So when that run happens, do they jump into the run, or do they go another direction with their pick and sit back and let one of the other guys in another position fall to them? I think it all depends. And, I think the other big thing is, I think that there's going to be some disappointed faces if Irv Smith goes off the board early and it's not to New England.
So I'll say this. You talk about if we think there's going to be an early run on defensive backs. Arizona certainly could use one, especially if they trade Patrick Peterson. Indianapolis, they need all the defensive help they can get. It's Indianapolis. Oakland could certainly use a corner. San Francisco, I mean, Richard Sherman's getting up there in age. They could use a defensive back. Seattle could as well. They just lost Irv Thomas.
Yeah.
Then you have Jacksonville at 38 before a couple of other teams, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Denver, who are going to need some help in the secondary.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, to me, that pick at 38 could be a spot where the Patriots say, everybody's taking corners. Here's a team that doesn't need a corner. That may be the spot. And I mean, will 5 corners go off the board with the first 5, or 5 defensive backs go off the board in the first 5 picks? I don't know. But Jacksonville at 38 to me is an interesting spot for the Patriots to trade up.
Yeah, I think that's, kind of the spot that I would say between 38 and 45 is where it becomes worth it, right? I don't know if the Patriots, I mean, maybe they will, but I don't know if the Patriots really necessarily need to give up a ton of capital to jump like a spot or two.
Right.
I don't know if that's something that they're really too keen on doing, but at the same time, if they can really jump up, and I come back to those 3 guys that I started with, but really Zach Allen and Irv Smith, I think are kind of the 2 guys that I'm kind of eyeing in this round. If they can come, look, they have 2 picks in this second round. If they can come away with Zach Allen and Irv Smith, I mean, that's one hell of a draft.
I mean, that Harry, and then I mean, they'll still, the way it's shaping out, because everybody took those front 7 guys last night, they could go get another front 7 guy because a lot of teams have filled their needs there.
Well, that's another thing too, right? You look at some of the teams that did draft those defensive linemen last night, and when Zach Allen's turn or Chase Vinovich's turn, if he's the guy, starts to come up, maybe you say, okay, Oakland, you took Clelin Ferrell in the first round. You don't need the defensive lineman. We want the defensive lineman. Let's, make something happen here.
Again, it's Alex Barth and Evan Lazar live from Gillette Stadium, answering your questions. If people want to put questions in the chat, I know some more people are filing in. Throw us your questions, your thoughts, your predictions for tonight. One prediction I think it's pretty safe to make tonight is that Josh Rosen will be traded. There were a couple of reports
so.
out.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, actually, I want to, before I make an idiot out of myself.
No, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but the expectation is he's going to be traded to Miami for, I think it's the 45th pick.
Yeah,
it's a pick in the 40s, 48.
I know this is killing you.
Well, I mean, it's a good quarterback. I think
competition.
it's a good quarterback in the AFC East. And then suddenly you have 3 of the top 10 picks last year playing quarterback in the AFC East this year. You surprised Patriots were out. Is that a good return for Rosen? Is he a good fit in Miami with Flores?
Well, I think that first and foremost, that I think that if they only get what it was at the 45th pick,
46,
49,
8,
we're
48,
bad at this.
48.
48.
Numbers are hard, man.
Numbers are, we're not good with numbers. We're good with players. We're not good with numbers.
What number do you think N'Keal Harry's going to wear, by the way?
We were 1 in college.
Right, so it's
11.
Evan, come on, get out of here.
I was making a joke.
I think he goes in the 80s. I do.
I could see 80s. 81? Wow.
81. There you go.
Moss wore 81, right?
Just not 17.
No,
because you're Chad
I can't believe
Jackson.
You thought I was serious about 11.
You had Aaron Dobson.
I did it. I fooled
because
you.
I at first thought 11, and then I realized no, it can't be.
Yeah.
Chad Jackson, Aaron Dobson, Dietrich Ward, and I.
Josh Gordon's got 10, right?
Josh Gordon's got 10. Edelman's got 11, 12. Dorsett has 13.
Oh yeah, there's really not a ton of teens.
It's basically between 14.
I think Barrios is 14.
Barrios is 14. You're right. So that leaves 15, 16.
Can't be 17.
And 19.
I think he could go in the 80s.
I think we're going to see 81, yeah.
Yeah,
I do too.
81.
81, or what else do we got? Let us know in the chat what number do you think
we'll find out soon.
He's going to wear.
Actually, we won't find out soon because the Patriots like to put the
draft
picks in.
You're right.
Yeah, we're not going to find out until his first game.
You know me, this is going to kill me.
Until August. You have to wait all the way to
July.
August. No, August.
Oh, August, you're right.
First preseason game. That's when you'll find out.
All right, so Josh Rosen.
So I think that really we can, at this point in time, and it was kind of trending in this direction last night, but I think we can say that the Cardinals pretty much botched this situation pretty badly with the Josh Rosen compensation. I mean, to not get, I think, even really you're not even getting a pick at the front end of the second round, and from everything that I understand is that the Cardinals asked Miami for their first round pick for Josh Rosen, and the Dolphins said no, and that's why we're in this kind of predicament for them. I mean, it's pretty incredible if you ask me, a guy that was a 10th pick overall. I think the biggest thing is, though, just looking at a couple of the different reasons why, just that they haven't gotten more. I think that his attitude and the way that he carries himself as a professional has really rubbed the wrong way for a lot of people that have come around this kid. Just a guy that it seems entitled, that wants things handed to him. Unfollowing the Cardinals' Instagram account today.
Oh yeah, that was
it's petty.
That was a little soft. I'm a big Josh Rosen guy. Yeah. That was soft.
You can't do stuff like that in the NFL. As much as I don't necessarily agree with the macho, it's a man's league kind of take, at the end of the day, a lot of the guys in the league feel that way. So when you have that, what people wanted to see in the league from Josh Rosen last night was, all right, you're going to draft Kyler Murray, fine. I'm going to go and beat his ass out in training camp.
That's what I want to say.
That's what they wanted him to say. Instead,
or you can trade me else somewhere else. But I'm going to go there. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to torch you.
That's what you want to see. That wasn't what he did, and I think that's a part of this. Now, in terms of the Patriots, first of all, the Dolphins have a better pick than them in the second round. So if you're only,
unless the Patriots trade up,
right?
They could trade up and then trade that. They did that last year, I think, right? That's how they ended up with Duke Dawson. They traded up and then traded out.
Now they could also potentially, give multiple picks in the deal for Josh Rosen. Right. I just don't see them doing that. I think the biggest thing, though, and I got a piece of intel last year saying that there are people in the Patriots decision-making room that weren't very high on Josh Rosen. Now, I don't know if that was, as a first-round pick or in this type of trade compensation, if that changes things. You know what I mean? But they weren't very high on him last year. They weren't crazy about his demeanor and his makeup, like I was saying earlier. And now this kind of backs it up, the fact that they're not aggressively pursuing him, at least it sounds, in a trade.
But I really feel like that means, and look, Brian Phillips from Pat's Pulpit actually made some very good points today on why the Patriots wouldn't take a quarterback. But I do think it's a little overstated how safe Brian Hoyer's spot is on the roster, because I think, look, if the Cardinals go out and they trade Josh Rosen, they're going to need a backup.
Right. Well, and I also think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Patriots carry 3 quarterbacks. They've done it in the past. They did it with Jacoby Brissett and Jimmy Garoppolo. Yep. They had 3 quarterbacks on the roster. I believe there was another time in the mid to late 2000s where they carried 3 quarterbacks. Right. It's not that out of the realm, and obviously you have Danny Etling, make it back to the practice squad. I don't think
so let me say this. So when I say the Patriots take a quarterback in this draft, once today ends, I'm taking that off the board, because you used a day 3 pick on a quarterback last year. You don't need to do that again.
So
if you're going to do that at that point, you have Etling.
My question is for you, is what if that day 3 pick is somebody like Tyree Jackson, who has a ton more physical upside than Danny Etling does? Like, now we're talking about a true Danny Etling. We're talking about maybe a project as the backup quarterback. If Tyree has a chance to be a starter.
If you can get Tyree Jackson in the 4th or 5th round, but then you shouldn't. I think that's fair. I think that would be a good pick.
I think it's a nice pick.
But then when you look at asset management, are you going to have 3 quarterbacks on your roster and 1 on your practice squad? Are you going to use 4 of your 60-something spots on quarterbacks?
Well, 3, yeah.
No, including the practice squad, 4 of 60 on quarterbacks?
I think that, what it is that at that position, they lucked into Tom Brady. We know that, right? Yeah. At that position, you got to take as many swings as you possibly can have, right? And it's such an important position
do you think, they took their swing with Danny Etling?
I think they took a bunt with Danny Etling.
And I think they bunted. Check swing. Yeah. But that being said, again, roster spots there's a finite number of roster spots. But even the 90-man roster, you could say, going into camp, but I'm not saying Etling's going to get cut before camp. But do you really think that Bill Belichick sees that as the best use of a roster spot, a 4th quarterback? Is he tied to Danny Etling that he'd keep him here? I think it all depends on. I think Danny Etling's gone.
Right. I think it all depends on how high he is on the player that he's picking.
Fair.
I think that, listen, I think the thing about Tyree Jackson that I find interesting is that functionally he has the athleticism and the arm strength and the skill to be an NFL starter, right? Like, we're talking about a guy that, from a baseline standpoint, has the traits to do that. Now, obviously, he has horrible downfield accuracy. His mechanics need a ton of work. But if you're thinking about sitting him for 2 to 3 years, then maybe you can figure out ways to kind of refine some of his mechanics. I think the biggest thing that I look at with Tyree Jackson, the issue that I have with him as a prospect, is that he has a lot of attributes mechanically that come with being 6'7" and come with being a tall quarterback that I don't know if they're necessarily if you can coach them out of him, because it might just be the fact that he's a tall quarterback and a lot of those things where his feet not being in the right place, or his front leg straightening out, and him kind of having like more of like a pendulum release than like a really nice base.
The one tall quarterback they've worked with, I mean, tall Brady's 6'4", but the one tall quarterback they've worked with here is Ryan Mallett.
Yeah,
and that didn't work out.
A lot of those tall quarterbacks have that same issue where they really can't control their lower half because of how long they are physically, and it's difficult to just coach that out of them.
All right, taking up to the first pick. Should be any second now, right?
Yeah.
The clock just hit 7 o'clock.
So Nashville going.
Nashville, I've heard, has been just amazing. I mean, not surprisingly, but it's been amazing.
This is such a you take.
What is wrong with liking Nashville? Opinion. What is wrong with liking Nashville?
You go move to Nashville.
I would love to. I mean, they don't have, they're not about to hit a championship slam, a Boston Slam, but, I take Nashville over LA, and I know that's fighting words for you.
Wow.
But I would take Nashville over LA.
I mean, I think a lot of people would probably take Nashville over LA. It's just kind of like who you're like,
it's two
personality.
very, very, very different
polar
cities.
Opposites.
Yeah. Out of polar opposites to me is like LA. There is some Hollywood element to Nashville. I'd say the polar opposite of LA is like Minneapolis, Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
that.
But it's pretty.
It's
opposite.
Different. It's
they're both
different
in the
culture.
South, but very different types of South.
LA's not the South. LA's on the West Coast.
Well, but it's in Southern California.
But that's not the South is.
No, I just mean it's in the south part of the country.
Oh, southern. Even the climate's different.
Yes.
It still rains in Nashville. It doesn't rain in LA.
No.
All right. We're
getting into weather.
We need a pick. What can we say? We need a pick. It's 7 o'clock. Let's go. Come on. Who's on? This is going to be a lot. Did we get the official time of the first round last night?
7 hours.
Felt like it. Certainly. 3:25 was last year. I think it was over that. Pats picked it. Oh, Pats picked I think 11:52. So an 8 o'clock start. 8 to 9, 9, 10, 10 to 11. So 3 hours and 52 minutes. That would be the longest first round since at least 2015, as far back as these numbers go.
As soon as the Pats picked, it like all came to a screeching halt for the night.
Like ESPN, they were talking about a 98.5. Yeah. They just kind of wait. Oh, Khalil Harry's the final pick. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. See it.
Nobody wants to talk about. Although last year, it's the second round. It was not like the second round was 204. The third round was 140.
Yeah.
Last year, the fourth round was longer than the third round. Oh, there's more picks.
Yes.
Start getting a comp.
Well, you get comp picks at the end of the third round.
We start getting comp picks
now you can trade the comp picks, and that
Pats have 2 in the third round, by the way, 97 and 101.
So
and I think they had it was 95 no, that was their original third round pick.
Question for you for the audience: do the Patriots double dip at wide receiver tonight?
I don't know. Maybe at the end of the third with one of those comp picks, if somebody really falls, if a guy like Andy Isabella falls, then maybe. But I think they double dip on pass catcher. I think they go tight end tonight.
Yeah.
But there's still veterans out there. A guy like Michael Crabtree, we've talked about. There's still the potential to make a trade. I don't think they force it. I think it's certainly possible, but I do think tomorrow they draft another wide receiver.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is that the two guys that they brought in most recently, obviously Nikhil and Demaryius Thomas, are 6'3" giant explosive receivers. Right? These guys are not little shifty Julian Edelman types. Could they go tonight or tomorrow with more of like what we have become to say prototypical Patriots at the position, where they go with a guy like an Andy Isabella or Hunter Renfrow or McCole Hardman or something like that?
All right, so this is I got to take my bat on this. My tablet was not working. I thought nobody was asking questions. You've all been asking questions. My tablet would not see them. You ready to do some rapid fire here before we get the first pick?
The people are.
We're gonna make it up. We're gonna make it up. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Rapid fire. We got to run through these, or this is gonna be the whole second round.
All right.
Think we add 2 more pieces to the offense in Jason Isabella. That'd be a good day too.
Yeah, I'm good with both of those guys.
We think the Patriots pick a safety today?
Yes.
Taylor Tapp is a name that's thrown out
there.
Taylor
Rapp.
Okay, that's a typo. You're right. I was like Taylor Tapp. I would remember that name. That's a great name. Who are maybe some other safeties in rounds 2 or 3? I think safety's a big need tonight.
So Taylor Rapp's an interesting one because he ran like a mid 4.7 at his pro day, really slow.
But he's one of those linebacker safeties.
He's more of a box safety. Yeah. You're not going to ask him to play in the back end too much. So how far he slides because of that pro day, you just don't see a lot of safeties drafted in the top 50 that ran 4.73, 4.75. That's pushing it. That's like your boy, little Jordan Humphreys 40 time for a wide receiver.
My boy. Again, I'll talk about the names. No, I think safety is one of the biggest needs they have remaining. It's not an immediate need, but
I kind of feel like
flirting with retirement.
It definitely
Chung
goes one
there.
or two ways for me with the safety position. Either they draft like one of the stud safeties here tonight, or they do what they did with Juwan Bentley last year, and they like have a safety that they really like.
They wait for the guy to fall, right?
Yeah, that they know is going to fall.
I do think safety is one of the big. I think safety, swing tackle are the two biggest needs tonight. Quarterback, I'm kind of.
You got to put pass rusher in there. I think they need.
Sorry, pass rusher. Pass rusher and safety, and then you get into the other names. Just a comment, but Bill Belichick would use Zach Allen so well. You kind of talked about move him all over the defense. Assuming the Patriots will pick at 56, what position do we think will get picked at the start of the second round?
I got a prediction.
A prediction or somebody tipped a pick?
No, I got a prediction. I don't have a tip pick yet.
Okay.
A.J. Brown, number 33 to the Arizona Cardinals, seems like a very sound pick based off of the fact that they wanted N'Keal Harry last night. Very similar players, very similar evaluation. If they had N'Keal Harry as like one of their top receivers on the board, I find it hard to believe that A.J. Brown was far behind. So if that's the direction that they're going with, receiver, add a guy that can catch some passes for Kyler, then I think that makes a lot of sense.
I still think it's going to be a corner, but you just made a lot of sense. So,
sometimes I do.
Better fit for the Patriots, Irv Smith or Jay Sternberger? And I think we disagree on this one.
I think it's tough because I think that Irv is probably more. I know
he's a better player. He's a better player.
I know Irv is a more well-rounded tight end.
Yeah.
I think that the way that Jace runs routes in the areas of the field that he attacks is a guy that can really run the seam. Screams Patriots. Like it's a perfect route running. And the other thing about Irv, is it's a little undersized.
Yeah, no, Sternberger is, as you try to fill the hole left by Rob Gronkowski, Sternberger's as close as you're going to get to that at this point.
Right.
So I think that, I think Smith's a better player. I think Sternberger's a better fit.
Yeah, I had Irv rated higher than him. Graded higher.
Then I think either guy comes in to New England and has some success pretty regularly. Concern about N'Keal Harry's ability to separate in the NFL.
So I think that this is a good talking point. I think on N'Keal Harry, if we're going to talk weaknesses, the two biggest weaknesses, and one of them I actually think, the ability to beat press coverage at the line of scrimmage is kind of the first one that comes to mind. He makes his moves often too early and has a ton of wasted movement in his route releases, and that leads to a guy that's patient, a defensive back that remains patient against him at the line of scrimmage and stays square, isn't going to open up his gate and get beat. That's a problem I think he has, but he has some help from a guy in Julian Edelman and some other guys on this roster and that are bigger, Gordon and Demaryius Thomas, who have really kind of figured out how to route release. So I'm not too worried about that. The downfield separation, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to use his body and his thick frame and his height to box guys out down the field. He's not going to run by people. He's not going to juke people out of their shoes at the top of his route, out of his breaks. He's going to have to win with size and hip snap, which I think he has enough of.
By the way, everybody said what we were talking about earlier, N'Keal Harry, people seem to think 15 for the number.
15? Okay.
It makes a lot of sense. Question from Griffin, would you take Drew Lock and what pick? I'd take him, if he's on the board at 56, absolutely. I'd trade up to take him, but then again, I'm in here. I'm not across the hall in the war room. So.
I think 56, once he starts falling to the end of the second round, you got to start thinking about it. I would not trade up for Drew Lock. I'm not giving up picks for Drew Lock.
Okay, fair enough. Again, we disagree. And again, we're not across the hall. So there is a situation, though, where you would take, let's say he's there at 64.
Sure. If he falls to you, you got to consider it. I just think that, in terms of things that Drew Lock does poorly, it doesn't really bode well necessarily for his success in the Patriots offense. Downfield accuracy. He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen last year. I think that they're very similar prospects. I think that Drew Lock is actually a little bit more polished, which makes it hard to believe that he's the guy that is falling. But I think that at the same time that the downfield accuracy and the things that Josh Allen do are similar to Drew Lock, and they obviously both have cannons.
All right, do the 49ers make a splash here with the third pick tonight? Take DK.
They could.
It's an interesting pick.
They could.
That'd be a very interesting pick. All right, rolling through these questions here. I think Evan will start doing cartwheels if we get Debo tonight. Probably.
Yeah, listen, he's one of my favorite players in the draft.
Wait, let me follow up with that because they had a follow-up comment. If you draft Debo, does Dorsett get traded?
It certainly opens the door to a lot of different avenues. I think at this point, though, at the wide receiver position, you're not really expecting any rookie to come in and steal somebody's job.
Right.
So let's wait until training camp before
especially
we start
a guy
guys.
That does have some medical red flags. Because if you trade Dorsett, and then Debo gets hurt. There
I think right now that ideally
Cardinals are officially on the clock here.
Yeah, I think ideally the top three for the Patriots is going to be Edelman, N'Keal Harry, and Dorsett. I think that's like kind of where they're going with, unless somebody falls to them tonight that they like.
Okay, get rapid fire because we got some to go through, but rank the other three AFC East teams last night, how well they did, top to bottom.
I mean, you got to say that getting Ed Oliver where the Bills got Ed Oliver is a pretty good steal. It's a top 5 player in the draft on my board, on a lot of people's boards that they got at 9. I love Quinnen Williams as a player. I agree with you that he's a little bit redundant, and Miami got a really foundational piece in Christian Wilkins, a face of the franchise, if you will. Him and Minkah Fitzpatrick are two very, just like captain-like players that they can build around on that defense. So I think the AFCs did well last night in general.
All right, a couple more. Any chance we get another tight end besides Irv Smith? Chase Sternberger out of Texas A&M.
Yeah,
there's where the drop off is.
I'll say this: if they end up going with any of the other tight ends, not just named Irv Smith or Chase Sternberger tonight, I'm not going to be happy.
That's not the guy. Then that's not the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they could pick a tight end in the 7th round and whatever, but that's not the guy.
If you're not getting one of those two guys tonight, then you're waiting until tomorrow.
With Devin and Duran for deep safety, I'm not sure. Safety's a top 100 pick. I'd rather take the guy early than too late. Get the guy, get him in the system, start working with him. And
and listen, at this point in the draft in the 2nd or 3rd round, although there's a ton of still, I think, day 1 impact players on the board because it's a nice deep draft, that's what you're looking at, right? You're looking at guys that are going to be starters 2 to 3 years from now. That's the goal of this round. The goal of these next 2 rounds is not to get the first round is where you get your impact player, your immediate impact. Tonight is where you start to build some of the depth of the roster.
Who do you think gets Grady Williams? I wouldn't be surprised if he's this pick right here. I know you said A.J. Brown. That makes a lot of sense, but especially if they're apparently going to trade Patrick Peterson, which I guess is a thing. I mean, you got to replace him.
Yeah, I could see him going here. I don't think he'll go to Oakland because kind of the talk out of Oakland right now is that Mike Mayock wants nothing to do with guys with character concerns. He wants clean prospects.
Look, the Raiders had to figure that out eventually.
Yeah, so Indy, I mean, maybe. I think a team that really
here's the next 5: Arizona, Indy, Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle.
I could see him fitting a little bit in San Francisco and Seattle, but those types of schemes, I kind of see guys like Juwan Williams or even Justin Lane who are taller, bigger. Like
and you got Byron Murphy still out there too.
Yeah, Byron Murphy's a nice zone corner that maybe fits like their cover 3 scheme, but doesn't have the height that those teams usually like at that position.
We will see. It's amazing that why am I blanking? What am I blanking on? Here.
Mel
Kiper, thank you. Mel Kiper has been 55 years old for like 25 years. It's outstanding that he does that.
It's amazing what plastic surgery will do.
Alex Barth along with Evan Lazar. We are live at Gillette Stadium, 2nd round getting underway. Taking your questions, so you can throw those in the chat. We're powered tonight by betonline.ag. Visit clnsmedia.com. Use the promo code CLNS50 for 50% cash back. Again, so we kind of talked about it before, but we've had some people log off. We've had some people log on. Patriots scheduled to pick at 56.
Yep.
I think that could be, even 20 picks. I think it could be even 20 picks higher than that they pick for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that would be great. I think that there's a lot of really in the top 50 right now, and I kind of expected this coming into the draft. There's some guys that have some impact day 1 potential in the top 50 right now.
By the way, N'Keal Harry tweeted out a picture of himself in a Patriots uniform wearing number 1.
Yeah, he's the number 1 draft pick, Alex.
I know. You're right. We're not going to get any answers at all. It's kind of annoying, but pick is in. All right, the Cardinals pick is in, so we will see. I think. Did you see if anybody's tipping picks tonight? I would imagine it starts.
I don't know. I tipped a few last night. I'm not doing it tonight.
You're not going to tip tonight?
I'm tired. No, I'm just kidding. If I get one, I'll let the people know.
Who's reading this? Carlos Dansby. I was going to say it would be really awkward. It would be very awkward if Patrick Peterson was reading this pick.
It's Byron Murphy. So wrong corner, but you got
wrong corner, but it's a corner. Okay. Well, I said early run on corners. All right, that's a good. So, and I think that tells us Patrick Peterson's on the block now.
It could, yeah. So Byron Murphy is, one of those corners that the film junkies, when you really start to watch his instincts and his feel for the game and the cover 3 scheme, is an excellent corner, but at the same time, he's a little bit undersized. Some people worry about his man coverage skills, ability to hold up and press coverage. Will he be a slot corner that in a more of a man-heavy scheme? This tells me, though, I mean, listen, Arizona with Patrick Peterson should be a man-heavy scheme. He's one of the best man-cover corners in the league. So to put him what they did last year a little bit too often in a zone scheme is a little bit weird. So maybe they are looking to go more like a cover three, like Washington plays, University of Washington, that is, and are trying to trade Patrick Peterson.
Do you think that could happen tonight?
It could. It could. I mean, I have no inside information on that, but it could. I mean, I think that, listen, Byron Murphy is a very different type of corner than Patrick Peterson is. You know, he's not the big physical man corner.
Right.
You know, he's much more of a zone guy that wins with great instincts, and is. I think the reason why he fell out of the first round was because he's very scheme dependent on playing in zone coverage.
Now we got the Colts on this. I'll double down on it. This could be Greedy Williams right here.
It could be. They do need a corner.
I mean, how old's Darius Butler at this point?
Yeah,
he was in New England like 10 years ago.
They do need a corner. Last year they got by at corner with, pretty much guys that like almost like a Patriot type thing where they're picking guys off the scrap heap and we're just kind of able to go there with it. I believe it's the Colts' first pick, is it not?
Yeah, they didn't pick yesterday. You're right.
No, because So wide receiver could be in play here. AJ Brown. You put AJ Brown with Andrew Luck, make him a happy camper. But I could see a corner coming off the board here too. I think the thing with Greedy Williams is that really for a while now, it's his character concerns and his willingness to tackle have been two things that people have talked about a whole lot about, and that is what it is. I think he's a great man coverage corner, a guy that's really smooth in coverage, got great hips. But when you have a guy that doesn't want to tackle and he's going to play defensive back in the NFL, that's certainly something.
Right. It's not, there was kind of a window 4 or 5 years ago where you could get away with that, but it's turning back into a game where corners have to be able to tackle. Again, if you guys have any questions for us, we are live from Gillette, powered by betonline.ag. Put those questions in the chat. We'll hang out for a little bit. We need to eat at some point.
Yes.
And shout out to the Patriots. Amazing spread last night with chicken parm, meatballs, whole dessert table.
Yeah.
Smells amazing tonight. So we got to get over there at some point. And we'll be back though. We will be back certainly, before the Patriots first pick, by the Patriots first pick. So we can break all that down.
If there's any more questions, I'll answer.
Keep the questions coming in. Let's stay up until that because they're moving pretty quickly. Colts pick is in. Let's stay up until that Jacksonville pick at 39, and then we'll jump off. And if the Patriots are going to trade or whatever, we'll jump back in. Somebody's saying this could be Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah,
so
Rock Ya-Sin's one of the better corners in this draft.
And he's good, but I'm surprised. I mean, Greedy, those personality issues I think are really dropping because I think he's a better football player than those last two guys.
It's those two things. And those two things I think go hand in hand, right? Like I think that his personality concerns off the field go hand in hand with his kind of hot and cold motor on the field and a willingness to really impact the game against the run and care when he's not targeted.
It's former Patriot Reggie Wayne. I love that we can say that. Reggie Wayne announcing the Colts pick right now. Yeah, the run on corners, not surprising because there were none taken yesterday.
DeAndre Baker was taken.
You normally see a number of corners in the first round. Yeah. We did not get that yesterday. Not too surprised by this. Oh, Reggie Wayne's antagonizing the crowd. They're booing him. I love it. Now he wants to fight. Didn't want to fight in camp.
He wants
the
to
Patriots
wants
to fight now.
That Eagles guy in Dallas.
Oh.
That's what he's trying to be.
Was that Lane Johnson?
That's what he's trying to be right now.
Let's see.
Rock Ya-Sin.
Is it Rock Ya-Sin?
Rock Ya-Sin.
Interesting. All right, so they got a good name.
Yeah, so Rock Ya-Sin, I wanted to say that this guy was going to be a Patriot because he plays like a strappy, physical man coverage style. And at Temple, you get single-digit numbers get handed out to the toughest guys on the team. And he had a single-digit number. But at the same time, his three-cone drill, which we know the Patriots look for a ton at cornerback, was piss poor, like in like the first percentile or something like that in three-cone. He ran a really a disastrous 3-cone time. So I thought that would take him off the board for the Patriots, and I don't think they were going with him in the first round anyway. So it looks like it's out anyways. So it looks like
there's 2 corners.
Oakland has traded the pick to Jacksonville.
Oh, so Jacksonville just moved. I would assume this is 39, right?
I would think so. Yeah, I think they just swapped.
No.
So either Jacksonville is trying to take a corner to play opposite of Jalen Ramsey, or maybe potentially replace Jalen Ramsey.
Now, remind me who Jacksonville took last night?
Jacksonville didn't pick last night.
Oh, that's right. They traded out.
Yeah. They didn't have a pick.
I would not be shocked if Jacksonville looks at a tight end here.
Could be a tight end.
And that would be really tough for the Patriots.
I think
it's going to be tough to trade up after that.
I think it might be a tackle.
Okay. Also, a position the Patriots are looking at.
It could be. I think this could be Dalton Reisner.
Oh no, Jacksonville did pick last night. They took.
Who did they take?
They took.
Oh yeah. Josh Allen.
Yeah, because we were talking about Josh Allen replacing Dante Fowler.
It's been a long 24 hours.
You'll have to bear with us. It's been a long day, certainly. What is going on with Juwan Taylor? This much of a drop for people saying a relatively minor injury. We don't know that it's relatively minor.
Yeah, we don't know that. I think that's part of the reason. This could be Juwan Taylor. I thought that maybe they would have gone Juwan Taylor in the first round, actually. If it's not Juwan Taylor, I would look for Dalton Reisner. I think this is a tackle.
You think this is a tackle? Drew Lock, second best player on the board behind Williams. So
Alex is gonna.
Or Taylor, sorry. I keep saying Juwan Williams.
Until Alex gets Drew Lock drafted, he's gonna continue to talk about.
I'm just trying to will it to happen. And then I'll talk about Will Greer for the rest of the night.
Okay, can I just say something?
Sure.
If you made a trade to get into a pick, 100% who the guy you were picking. Like, let's get this out of, like, come on. Like, we know who you're picking. I can't believe, you know why I forgot that they drafted Josh Allen? Because that's my opinion on Josh Allen. Forgettable player.
You were very down on Josh Allen.
Very down on him. I mean, listen,
Josh Allen or Zach Allen? Who's a better player?
Josh Allen. I still had Josh Allen, I think, in my top 10. I'm telling you.
Because you're raving about Zach Allen, and rightfully so.
Because I don't like guys that are strictly based on their speed.
You don't like the one-move guy.
All I can do is bend the edge. All I can do is turn the corner. That's I'm just going to turn the corner.
I like that they have the former players do the picks.
It's all right.
It's
all right, but they got to limp out.
You're gonna laugh at me when I say it's the nostalgia factor. Yeah. Guys you haven't heard of in a couple years. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. Alex, Barth, and Evan Lazar live at Gillette Stadium, powered by BetOnline.ag.
It's Juwan Taylor. So
it is Juwan Taylor. There you go. All right. So Juwan Taylor, no longer pulling what I call a Tom Petty, free falling. There you go.
Yeah, good for him. I feel bad for him. This guy that's the top 15 talent that lost out on that first round pick status. It was pretty crazy for him to drop this far. It is certainly way further than I think a lot of people expected. He's probably going to play right tackle in Jacksonville. He'd probably play right tackle in the league, but he's going to be a good player if he can stay healthy.
And Brian Phil's pointing this out on Twitter. He makes a good point. Patrick Peterson, Murphy, and Alford together are good corners. It's not that Patrick Peterson's definitely getting traded.
No.
But
no.
Again, if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat over there. Patriots at 56. So we got some time, but here are teams that I think we can say pretty confidently are going to be taking defensive players. You have Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle. I think maybe San Francisco takes a wide receiver, but I think those three teams are going to take defensive players.
Yeah, I think Seattle is an interesting
or wide
spot
receivers
right now for Juwan Williams, the guy that a lot of people had the Patriots taking last night. I can see that, Seattle wants their corners to be long. They want their corners to be physical. They want their corners to be able to play cover one man and cover three zone. He fits a lot of those boxes. He is very reminiscent of a player like Richard Sherman.
So we do not have the details of the trade yet. Yeah, so I think defensive player, but I kind of just said it. You could totally see a wide receiver here.
For San Francisco?
For San Francisco
Absolutely.
And Oakland. I think back-to-back, because Oakland's still got to recover from trading Amari Cooper.
Yeah, this San Francisco spot, I could easily see one of two things. I could see DK Metcalf here, or I could see A.J. Brown.
When you say receiver, this draft is just so deep at receiver. So you just say a name, and it could be, you say a position, it could be five guys.
Right. Here's the thing, though. In Kyle Shanahan's offense, there's two very, very specific roles if we want to use Atlanta as a comparison for something that people might know a little bit more about, one of them is the X receiver role that obviously Julio Jones holds down. The other one is the Z or the move or the flank or whatever you want to call him that Mohamed Sanu was kind of held down, but hopefully Calvin Ridley will be that guy soon. The Niners have a guy in Dante Pettis who they drafted last year, who I think is that move wide receiver, that flanker. They don't have the X, and DK Metcalf is the best X in this draft.
Yep.
So this looks like a nice spot for DK Metcalf, who has that size explosion combination that obviously probably not going to be as good as Julio Jones because nobody is, but that's the type of player that DK Metcalf can be. So I think that it makes a whole lot of sense that we could get Jawan Taylor and DK Metcalf here in back-to-back picks.
So Oakland trades 35, 140, and 235 for 138 and 209. So they move down 3 spots, and then they give up 140 and 235 for 109. It's a good trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the point is that the Patriots they're not getting cold antsy yet.
Right.
You know, like they can make all of these trades.
Niners
if they
pick is in, by the
trades.
way. So I said that 38 was the spot for the Patriots to trade up. That changes now.
Yeah,
because that is now going to be Oakland, right?
The 49ers took Deebo Samuel. So there goes Deebo.
So there goes Deebo.
So the one wide receiver I didn't mention. So Deebo Samuel, I love Deebo Samuel. I don't know where exactly he fits in with Dante Pettis. They're kind of similar. Maybe he plays more in the slot for them in San Francisco. Fantastic player though, guy that's very, very quick, explosive. He's really like built like a running back. He's like 5'11", 230. He's really thick and jacked up like a running back is, and he kind of runs like a running back with the ball in his hands. Great contact balance, great vision in the open field. Fantastic ball carrier, player that can play on special teams, kick returns, punt returns. That I really thought that he was a guy that the Patriots might like. I think that N'Keal Harry ended up being the pick because he's a little bit taller, a little bit more of a physical presence down the field, which is maybe something that they were looking for a little bit more this year than kind of like the shifty slot receiver like Deebo.
All right, so we got 2 corners, an offensive lineman, and a wide receiver. I'm actually going to keep track and write it down tonight because we got lost too many times in the first 20 minutes of this thing.
You're a professional.
It's like you go to a baseball game, you keep score. Right, I'm doing that. Yeah. The Patriots actually, it's nice in the guide here. They have spots for us to write it all in. I need one for the whole draft, but that'd be 10.
I'm happy for
long.
Deebo. Kyle Shanahan will know what to do with him. That's a good pick.
So again, keep those questions coming as we are already behind the 8 ball with the broadcast. We know San Francisco's pick. They have not yet announced it. We'll stay on. We'll stick with it. We'll stay on until 39. Then we'll jump off. Then we'll come back on. Pending a Patriots trade, we'll probably come back on. Call pick 50, 51, somewhere around there.
Yep.
Whatever time that is. Who's now to the Niners? Let's see. Earl Cooper.
Of course.
Sure. Why not?
Of course.
Sure. Certainly. Who's with him? Oh, he's going to give a whole speech. This is...
So here's the interesting thing.
Yeah, back to the draft.
That I think is I'm going to pat myself on the back here for a second.
Yep.
The NFL does not view A.J. Brown as highly as some of the people out there do.
Well, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf.
DK, I think, is falling because of medical
How
purposes.
about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? Some people said he was the best wide receiver in the draft.
Yeah, no, I thought that he was the guy that was a late second-round pick all the way. But I think that A.J. Brown now has gone behind Deebo Samuel. He's gone behind Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
He's gone behind, obviously, N'Keal Harry. Guys that I think are in the same tier, and even N'Keal Harry and A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel, I think, are in the same body type stratosphere as well. Guys that are very similar players and run routes from very similar spots on the field. For whatever reason, I mean, I don't think A.J. Brown's slide will last much longer, but they're certainly not, the NFL is not as high as on. There's some, rumors out there that the NFL a lot of teams had A.J. Brown as the number 1 pick, wide receiver on their board, a potential first-round pick. We'll see when he goes.
Sounds like the Niners fans really like that pick.
Well, they should. He's a good player. He's a good player. The Niners are building, they don't have necessarily like that size, like I was talking about with DK, like a size, machine.
Well, they do have Kittle.
They have Kittle, so maybe
Right.
Kittle is their version of that now in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Yeah.
Somebody wants to know the best offensive lineman who will be available in the 50s.
I think there'll be a lot of offensive linemen available in the 50s. I think it's more a matter of preference and what exactly the Patriots are looking for. Yodny Kajus from West Virginia, Bobby Evans from Oklahoma, Cody Ford is sliding, who's a really good player. He's sliding a little bit. Dalton Reisner is sliding a little bit. So there's going to be some guys available. It's really just a matter of who they're looking for and what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
Seahawks have traded to Carolina. So Carolina, another team that could potentially be...
Wait, this is supposed to be the Giants.
Well...
Oh, this was from the trade last night.
Yeah.
So this is now Carolina. So it went to... So this pick has now been owned by 3 teams. This is going to be way too hard to keep track of. There's not enough room to write on this.
You need
we could be seeing a run on wide receivers now. Carolina could certainly go wide receiver.
This could be DK Metcalf. They drafted DJ Moore last year, who's like a clone of AJ Brown. So I think that they would be very redundant players. They lost Devin Funchess in free agency, who's like a big body downfield receiver. This could be DK. And
I mean, really, ever since, what was it, 2-3 years ago? No, it's more than that, actually. It's more like 4 or 5 years ago when they kind of purged their whole receiver core.
Yeah.
They've been trying to build it back up. They have Chris Hogan now. So
last year they drafted DJ Moore in the first round. A lot of people, including myself, thought it was a major reach. I never like to judge a guy just based off his rookie season, but there's other guys that were rookies last year. What Calvin Ridley did in Atlanta compared to what DJ Moore did in Carolina, we were talking about different sports practically.
All right, Julian wants to know, would you trade up for Ford?
I like Cody Ford a lot. Another tackle guard prospect, though, from Oklahoma, but I do think that he's got some right tackle capabilities. I tend to lean more towards Bobby Evans because he played some left tackle in his past as well. But I do like Cody Ford. I think Cody Ford's a better player than Bobby Evans is, a better prospect, but he's more a guard right tackle instead of a guy that can really be a true swing.
Oh, actually, Griffin just brought up a good point. Panthers need to replace Greg Olsen.
It could be
a tight end.
It could be Irv.
I think if Irv Smith goes, you're going to see the Patriots trade up relatively quickly.
For Jace?
Yeah. I think that they understand that drop-off and they know what they have to do. And
thanks, Griffin.
So coming up, you have...
Shout out.
Yeah, no, good. Seriously, good point. That escaped both of us. Carolina here, then Oakland, Tampa, Buffalo. Oh, Greg Olsen.
No.
Oh, John Beasley. I heard University of Miami. I saw.
Do you remember?
I saw Carolina.
Have you ever seen Greg Olsen's rap? It's
both,
like fantastic.
Oh, the 7th floor. I was about to say they're both the 7th floor crew.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite things of all. It seemed like you've seen the 30 for 30, right? It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Fantastic.
I mean, I am a huge fan.
One of the best things that any
there.
pro athletes have ever done.
I mean,
Greg Little. Okay, so they took a tackle,
and it's not Riser.
Reisner, I think, is falling because of some foot speed issues and the fact that he is really only a right tackle. Greg Little is a left tackle who has a little bit of, let's just say, like motivation issues, high motor issues, whatever you want to call it. I could hear Scarnecchia yelling at Greg Little from here in the practice fields. If you were going to go out to training camp in August, and some of those open to the public training camp practices, and the Patriots draft Greg Little, you would hear Scarnecchia yelling at the guy. He's that kind of guy. You got to really motivate him. But from a skill standpoint, he was one of my higher rated tackles just from, watching the film and watching what he can do when he's a very, very good pass protector. High-level pass protector, can really move, really has a nice base to him and good quick feet. Now the Raiders, we're getting all sorts of trades now. The Raiders have traded
again, and they already traded. They just traded for this pick, so they're bumping. So they originally moved down.
They learned from last night.
They originally moved down 3 spots. Now they're moving down another 2.
Yeah, the only concern in that, what I think is really kind of interesting about this Greg Little pick for Carolina, he's not a very good run blocker. And they're a team that with Cam Newton wants to run the ball. They're Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey. They kind of want to be a ground and pound team. I'm not sure if I necessarily see the fit in that respect because he's really got some concerns about power at the point of attack, and he doesn't have a ton of reps as a run blocker either because Ole Miss really didn't run the ball at all. It's an interesting pick.
It certainly is. So, and you see Oakland punting down. Now you got Buffalo, Tampa, Oakland, and then Denver at 41.
Oakland could be positioning themselves for a tight end too.
Yeah, this is where you start to get a little nervous, and of course they're going to commercial. Here, this might be a good. All right.
Yeah, let's.
We've been on. See if we can get it. I know we were close to an hour. We're at 58:51.
Perfect.
So as we kind of start to wrap it up here, let's see if we can get to an hour. I think an hour would be good. Hour on, hour off, hour on, hour off, something like that. You surprised at what we've seen so far tonight? You know, how is this playing out for the Patriots? It's been good so far for the Patriots. Has it been bad for the Patriots?
Good. I mean, tackles, cornerbacks, one wide receiver, not bad for the Patriots. Certainly not bad news. I think that really the interesting thing is overall, you know, I think that it's interesting that Greg Little went to Carolina just now. I really like Greg Little as a pass protector, but they're a team with Cam that are going to want to run the football. They're going to want to run pistol and run some RPO elements to their offense, and he really didn't run block all that well. The Bills pick is in. We're not going to get it until after this commercial.
I want to see if I can get on. I want to see if we can get the Bills pick because it's a division pick, and then we'll wrap it up.
We liked Buffalo.
Did we? We like the wings. I did love the stadium. I did
the wings love the stadium. So the cool thing about the stadium is that it has a very college feel to it.
It's just old school. It's a bowl.
It's a very
metal benches.
I felt like I was like going to a game in like SEC country.
I just felt like I was going to a game in like the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that.
Not a lot of room on the sidelines. Metal benches. It's loud. Yeah. Even outside, like people are actually tailgating. It's not like fancy tailgating. It's real tailgating.
Like in mud fields.
Right. Yeah. No, it's odd. Like
that and Duff's was fantastic. I mean, that place is everything that you hear about. Next year, maybe we'll try a different wing spot, though. You know,
we did Duff's. Yeah, so maybe we'll switch to Anchor Bar.
Yeah,
I got to ask Jenna Harner, who's a sports anchor up there. She's the one. I know she is like Miss Buffalo now. She's taken over since she moved up there. So we'll have to ask Jenna. Somebody actually says I was furious when I saw you guys at Duff's eating boneless wings and not wings.
Oh, I remember that.
Do we need to have this conversation?
Thank you for that loyal follow, though. I appreciate that.
No, hey, look, that's a day one. We appreciate that. We might have to eat bone-in wings next year.
Okay, just to let you know, Zach, I'm not afraid to admit that I like boneless wings over bone-in.
It's just so much easier.
It's easier.
It's so much easier.
I think they taste a little bit better. I'm not afraid to admit it. I don't like
You get more sauce with boneless
I'm not a big mess guy.
Right.
Sorry.
Could the Bills... So I don't know if this is a prediction or a tip. I'm having trouble telling, but because I've seen a couple of people say it, but nobody seems to have said it definitively.
Where's
Greedy Williams to the Bills?
Oh,
you know they go out. They're
going to take Cody Ford.
Interesting. Okay, I was thinking they may go get another defensive player to stop
Cody
Brady.
Ford. So I really like Cody Ford.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, guard prospect. Listen, this Bills draft so far: Ed Oliver, Cody Ford. I got to give them credit. They're building on the line of scrimmage. They're a team that, with Josh Allen, desperately needs skill position players. They desperately need wide receivers. They have one good wide receiver right now, and that's about it. Maybe two if you want to count Zay Jones, but I don't. And they have one good wide receiver, and instead of going A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf or one of the other good wide receivers that's still on the board, they've gone with a tackle. So I give them, I give them credit for that.
And did we get the Bills trade? Because you mentioned they need skill position players.
I mean, they could have gone JJ here. They could have gone Paris Campbell.
So I'm wondering when their next pick is.
I think they have a couple picks.
I'm looking right now. So this is the pick that originally was 40, right? I'm assuming they traded that.
These people that they're showing, these Bills fans, have no idea who Cody Ford is. That was the best. That was the best reaction.
Who was it? Who was the offensive lineman today?
They were just like, "Who's that?"
Who was the offensive lineman today that said he loves watching draft parties when their teams draft offensive linemen? It's like getting underwear for Christmas.
And you know,
you got to eat your vegetables.
You know me. I go crazy when I see an offensive lineman.
I mean, that's a good pick.
Listen,
Buffalo's
these Oklahoma offensive linemen, they kind of got worked a little bit by Quinnen Williams and company, and their stock, kind of went down a little bit because of that. But they dominated last year. And what's really great about them, too, is that scheme with Lincoln Riley is pretty complex. It's an NFL pro. It's got some RPO and college style elements to it. It's an air raid system predominantly, so there are some wider splits and some things that they do to make it easier on the offensive lineman and also easier on Kyler Murray, who's a shorter quarterback. Yep. But at the same time, there's a lot of different gap and zone type schemes. It's a pretty diverse running scheme that they run there. So these guys know how to block in a lot of different ways.
So actually, shout out Jenna Harner. She got the trade up on Twitter. So 38 for 40 and 158. So the Bills do keep 74. That's the 11th pick in the third round. Right. So they will actually.
A great trade for Carolina.
I don't think it is. I would have looked at 74, and now the Bills are going to have, with the Patriots actually picking right before the pick they got from Detroit. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
But the Bills are going to have it. At 74, there's still going to be some of these, name brand wide receivers on the board.
So do you want? I also really like this pick.
Do you imagine if the Bills get Andy Isabella? What people in New England would? The opinions of him are going to change so fast in this region.
A few Buffalo players from Buffalo and turn them into better players here.
Yeah.
So what I really like about Cody Ford too is that he's blocked in an offense over the last couple of years that have had a lot of RPO style elements. I'm sure that that's going to be the plan with Josh Allen moving forward, is having a lot of different types of running, plays and playing 11 on 11. And he's got, I like this pick a lot for Buffalo. I think Buffalo and Oliver Cody Ford has done really well for themselves.
I just want to remind everybody, this is the CLNS Media Draft coverage live from Foxborough in the media room at Gillette Stadium. Alex Barth and Evan Lazar. We are powered tonight by betonline.ag. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I want to go eat. I do, but people are still hopefully enjoying it. I think they're still enjoying it. We're kind of creeping-ish up on the Patriots. The second we pop off, they're going to make a trade. That's what's going to happen. So, and there's been, I think, 3 of the first 6 picks have been traded. Did I do that right?
Yeah, there's been a lot of trades.
So, and we got we'll wait till Denver. We'll wait till Denver at 41 because that could very well be a quarterback, and that's going to be something worth talking about. And then from 41 to 56, we'll take a break unless the Patriots trade. That's what we're going to do because, as you can tell, we're fading fast. We need to eat. Tampa certainly needs a corner. If they skip Greedy, how far does he fall? I can see Carolina taking him with the next pick.
We got Cincinnati coming up, right?
They are going to be the pick after Denver. Yes.
I could see that. I could see Cincinnati as a landing spot for Greedy. They don't care about personality traits.
I mean,
this is our
it's
problem.
A new era. No,
we keep on talking, and then another pick comes in, and we want to stay.
Another pick gets and the trades aren't helping either.
Yeah, the trades aren't helping.
Oh, we got a little Trent Dilfer action. I miss Dilfer's dimes. They don't do that anymore, do they?
Trent Dilfer famously said the Patriots were done in 2014. So
I mean, they were very done. Clearly, everybody knows when you're done, you just go on and win 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow.
Who?
Sean Bunting in the second round at 39th overall.
Does this deserve the disappointed Evan face?
I mean, I don't know if enough people know who Sean Bunting is.
I think by definition that means it's going up. It's going up.
This is a peculiar pick. I'll put it.
I mean, that's Joe Staley and Twitter Brown Ty Conklin. It's not a bad history for the Chippewas.
Just from Central Michigan. Oh man, I think with some of the corners that are still on the board at this point, Sean Bunting is an interesting pick. I mean, you're taking Sean Bunting over Greedy Williams, Juwan Williams, Justin Lane, Julian Love, just guys that have played in much better conferences.
So, okay, what's going on with Greedy Williams?
I'm telling you, it's his personality.
Is it that bad?
He's just people just aren't sure how much want to he has. Like how much dog does he have in his fight? You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this: with this fall, is he free falling yet? Can we say he's free falling?
We're close. I mean, I had him as a first round grade, but I know a lot of people that didn't.
So he better come in now.
He falls outside of the top 50, then we're free falling.
He better come in with a chip now after all this.
I think he ends the fall ends at Cincinnati. Listen, I think that this draft for Tampa, I like Devin White as a player, but an inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker at number 5 is like a really high pick on that position. And now they pick a corner that I think is probably a day 3 corner in the second round. This is like what the Patriots usually do, picking a day 3 corner in the second round.
Well, day 3 safety, but yeah.
Yeah, this is bold. I'll say that.
All right, it's up. The Evan face is up. So that's the third Evan face of the weekend behind Quinnen Williams and what? Do you remember what the other one was? Oh, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
It had to be.
I think Daniel. Was Quinnen Williams in Evan face?
Yeah,
it was.
Oh no, it wasn't Quinnen. Sorry, it was
It was definitely
Oakland.
Jones.
No, it was Oakland. It was
Clelin
Ferrell. Thank you. No, it wasn't Quinnen. I should have Evan faced not being able to trade the third pick. Like, again, going back, because I did get a little bit of heat for saying that the Jets were losers last night when they got the best player in the draft. I still don't understand how you don't trade the third pick. Like, how you can't.
Yeah.
I understand how you don't. I don't understand how you can't.
So here's some what I've heard from Ted Wynn over at The Athletic tweeted this out earlier today, that in mock drafts that the Oakland was set on Clelin Ferrell. That's the player that they wanted.
Yeah.
In the mock draft simulators during the week that they ran with Mike Mayock, he traded out every single time. He traded out to, I think Ted said that the range that they thought that they would be careful with, that they knew that they were still going to get the player, was at 13, I believe it was, that he traded out in all those simulators. And then last night came, and for some reason he just didn't make the trade, and he just decided to take the player and just forget about the trade. So maybe he got cold feet and got worried they were going to lose the player. I don't know.
Adam Schefter is saying that Oakland has been very interested in Drew Lock, and he certainly is a John Gruden.
So they're kind of moving down the board. That could be why they've been doing that.
And people are saying the Dolphins could be another team that's interested. They're coming up at 48. I think he's going at some point in the next 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah.
I do think so. By the way, if you guys have any comments, questions, put them in the chat. Let's see if I can get caught up here. I mean, just kind of a lot of questions about Greedy Williams. What's going on with him? If he's there at 56, the Patriots take him.
I like Greedy's fit. I mean, he's a guy that can play man coverage. I kind of compared him a little bit to early years Stephon Gilmore, more like rookie Buffalo Stephon Gilmore, not all-pro Stephon Gilmore. I think that he moves in a very similar way, and he runs in a very similar, had a very similar 40 time. He kind of has that fluid movements, the hips that are kind of just unlocked at all times, very fluid mover. We watch him against DK Metcalf. He really shut down DK Metcalf in that Ole Miss game for the most part. I don't mind the pick for the Patriots. I like the system fit. I like how he fits as a man corner on the boundary. I just don't know if they really want anything to do with them. I think that the NFL teams, for the most part, have had Greedy Williams in this spot, for a while now, and we'll see what happens. I don't think that any NFL team, I guess what I'm trying to say, thinks that Greedy Williams is free falling right now.
So we can say free fall.
I don't. If you want to, I just don't think that any NFL teams. I think this is where people thought what was going to happen with Greedy.
Biggest surprise for you that they're still on the board right now?
DK.
Definitely. I think so. I'm between DK and
something is up with DK. Maybe that neck is not as clean as people thought it was. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm telling you, I just think it's teams have realized the guys that test out of their mind at the combine, the guys who win 3, 4, 5 different combine drills, they never do well in the NFL. It never translates.
Yeah.
And I think teams are starting to pick up on that the combine does not help scout the NFL.
I think it's more about the durability than that kind of line of thinking.
All right, question from Julian. Who are you rooting for to fall to the Patriots?
Zach Allen.
Okay. I mean, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. This could be Drew Lock.
Charles Woodson's doing the whole thing.
Charles, come on, man.
He's doing something for Mother's Day. It's, like 3 weeks from now? Shout out to all the moms, but DK would be such an Al Davis. DK actually would be the most Al Davis pick right here.
So, as we're waiting for Charles Woodson to say his little soliloquy here.
I'm just saying I really think this could be DK. Because the Raiders are the team that, picks by the combine.
Could be Drew Lock.
It's neither of them.
Trayvon Mullen. So, yeah, we're seeing the corners. This is
here's that early corner run, yeah.
We knew there would be a run at one position, and the corners, none of them got drafted in the first round.
And that's
we're getting them now.
With the 4th player from the Clemson defense that's been drafted in the top 40 picks.
Trayvon Mullen's a guy that I think, had some hot and cold to his tape. There are times when he was a really high-level player for Clemson last year, and there are times when he wasn't. I think the ability to flip his hips and really defend the deep part of the field is going to be something that he's going to have to work on at the next level, but he's a solid corner. I mean, I think that we're at the point now, though, where all these corners are going. Listen, I think that what's really interesting, though, is what I wanted to say before that pick came in.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo has had a really good offseason.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's a matter of if Josh Allen is ready to be a guy that can elevate that team to, a playoff status or even a contender. Or I wouldn't call him a contender, but you know what I mean. A team that can make some noise. They've had kind of an offseason, I would say, that's been pretty transformative from what they've done around Josh Allen. I think that they still need a couple more receivers, a couple more playmakers on their offense. But defensively, we saw last year how good that defense was in the 2 games that they played against the Patriots. That's going to be a real defense next year.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed Oliver is a stud. They already had a bunch of really good players on defense. I think Buffalo has had a really, really nice offseason, draft free agency, even though they struck out on Antonio Brown, which is obviously, a little bit embarrassing the way that all went down.
Second, by the way, going back, I forget Clellan Ferrell too. So it's now two of the four Clemson defensive players have gone in the top 40. Not Dabo Sweeney earning
the
that
Broncos
contract
are now
extension.
Trading out of this pick, so we'll see where that goes.
Interesting. Could this be the Patriots?
I think we're in that range now where,
So I just want to say, Oakland's taken two of the 4 players from the national championship defense.
Yeah.
They've also
defense.
They took their other picks are Mississippi State and Alabama.
Yeah.
Now they're going SEC. They're going big time football. I mean, they are going big schools,
Mayock, man.
pedigree programs.
That's what you got to do sometimes in these drafts. I mean, the Patriots.
But I think they're having a good draft though.
2 Georgia guys and a Florida guy.
All right, so let's see. Were the Patriots convinced that they wanted a quarterback and Denver was going to take one, and they gave them enough to jump?
No, well, this pick is in now at Denver.
I thought it was traded. What happened?
That's what Schefter said.
All right, well, we figure it out. This is the CLNS Media live draft coverage from Foxborough at the Media Room at Gillette Stadium. We're powered by BetOnline.ag. If you guys have questions, thoughts, predictions, comments, throw those in the comments. We'll get to as many of them as we can. Is it Dove climbing?
Denver.
Dove?
Yep.
Denver. Is this Drew Lock? They about to break my heart?
They're picking.
I don't see how this isn't Drew Lock. All right, so apparently there was an issue with the communication system. Denver never had traded the pick. Okay. I think I'm going to be more upset if it's Will Grier than if it's Drew Lock. I think it's worse for the Patriots if it's Will Grier than if it's Drew Lock. Because if Will Grier goes now, Drew Lock's going to go very quickly. You have the Bengals who could use a quarterback. You have the Packers who could use a quarterback. And you have the Dolphins who could use a quarterback, all going right now ahead of the Patriots. If it's Drew Lock, it somewhat stays in pattern. If it's Will Grier, teams are going to panic.
I think it's probably Drew Lock.
I mean, this is going to be a quarterback or a tight end. This is going to be something that greatly affects the Patriots, and this is why we stayed on until this pick.
I don't know if it's Drew Lock, if it greatly affects the Patriots all that much.
I think it means that Will Grier gets bumped up the board, and I think it rules out the possibility
I think Drew Lock
of a quarterback
is going
tonight.
in one of these 2 picks, though, because Denver and Cincinnati both could use quarterbacks. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Let's see. Oh, Al Wilson. If you'll remember Al Wilson, if you watched the Patriots Super Bowl DVDs, was talking a bunch of smack in 01 or 03. Which one is it? The Monday Night Football game in Denver? And they had him mic'd up.
This is your avenue here.
You've seen the Super Bowl DVDs.
I've seen it, but once, like when it came out.
This is a guy who likes to talk a lot of trash. Certainly. All right, Al, come on.
There
Dalton
you go.
Risner.
So Risner off the board.
Back-to-back, they took a tackle last year in the first round, right?
Was
that 2 years ago?
Was that last year?
I can't remember if it was last year, 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, but investing in that offensive line, they're kind of going at it backwards. They're putting all the other pieces in place, and then they'll add the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously one way to go about it. Also, I think that what we're finding out here is that John Elway likes Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I think John Elway likes Joe Flacco.
I mean, it's John Elway, as good as he is at the quarterback position, really can't figure it out.
I mean, other than Peyton Manning, which is a pretty easy,
and he's still even stuck with Manning too long.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They still won a Super Bowl with Noodle Arm.
Okay. I could have won a Super Bowl with that defense.
I'm just saying it still got done.
No, but they didn't. Manning. He got benched. Right. They won a Super Bowl with Manning. Oh, the second one.
In 2015, they won the Super Bowl with Manning.
But didn't he get benched partway through that season?
Yeah, like mid-season. But they won the Super Bowl. He started in the AFC Championship game.
One of the most defensively dominated Super Bowls of all time.
I'm just saying
we're both just saying. Julian wants to know, is this going to be a quarterback here to the Bengals?
It could be. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. They didn't take the quarterback in the first round. I could definitely see them taking. I mean, could they have had a similar evaluation on Drew Lock as they had on Dwayne Haskins? And certainly Daniel Jones. It's possible.
Griffin wants to know.
So Denver traded back up now, so they're on the clock again.
So, and that's what somebody said. So somebody just said, is Denver going to regret losing Greer and Locke? And I was going to say,
maybe Denver. I
wonder if they trade back up to get him. Yeah. So maybe that's where the confusion was with the trade. So they just traded with Cincinnati.
This is your theory. How do you decide which guy you're going to pick first?
Right. Well, in this scenario, they didn't necessarily know that they could get up to 42.
Okay, but if they're trading back up to 42 to take Drew Lock, wouldn't you have taken the quarterback already? I mean, if you had the quarterback rated that highly, you take him over a right tackle.
And unless they felt like the right tackle rated higher and they didn't know they were going to get 42. Maybe some people in the room are working on the pick. Some people in the room are working on acquiring the next pick, and they just went on it. They went about it saying.
Seems weird to me.
And I like that you're embracing one of my bizarre theories, but it's really for when the teams are scheduled back to back. We'll talk about this again with Houston at 54 and 55. Why wouldn't you take the
quarterback if you want to?
Isn't it slightly cheaper if you take him with the next pick?
Not like a fraction.
Evan, you're disappointing our friend Miguel here. No, every dollar matters in the salary cap. Every dollar matters. This has to be Lock or Greer, right?
I think it's Lock. I mean, I can't believe they're passing on Lock as many times as they have.
Finally, you agree with me that people are weird for passing on Lock.
No, just the Broncos. I mean, this guy's like tailor-made for John Elway. He's a big, strong, white.
No, Daniel Jones was made for John Elway.
No, I don't understand that comp. I really don't.
Because he's the tallest pick he's the tallest quarterback in the
draft.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have a good arm.
Besides
John
Jackson.
Elway likes good arms.
That's the thing. Could this be Tyree Jackson?
No. My God. If it's Tyree Jackson, then John Elway should be fired.
Schefter just tweeted, Denver in QB market, ... So this is Drew Lock. That's a savvy move by Elway. That's a savvy move by Denver for going up, getting the second pick, getting both guys they want.
You got to take the quarterback first.
We'll see what they gave up. If not Lock here, New England is in play for him or Greer, right? Yeah, I think considering they traded with the Bengals, and did Denver have another pick in here? No, they didn't have another pick before the Patriots. So considering this is with the Bengals, they still have a shot at Greer, even if this is Lock. If this is Greer, I think Lock gets. I think somebody trades up and gets Lock.
I've had the Patriots penciled in with Greer at 64 for a long time now. I just think that's where he belongs. I think that's the range he belongs in. I think that's the team he belongs on. I think that makes a whole lot more sense than some of the first round buzz that he was getting in the late part of the draft.
So it is Drew Lock.
It is Drew Lock.
It is Drew Lock. That's the report right now.
I don't understand why you would take Dalton Risner before Drew Lock. If you like the quarterback that much.
I think you're looking too far into it.
No, you got to take the quarterback first. You don't know that you're going to get this pick back.
Well, let's say they take the pick at 41, right? Let's say they take the quarterback at 41. Somebody else who wants a quarterback panics and trades up and ups your offer that you were going to use to get 42.
Yeah.
Let's say maybe they didn't want it known they were looking at a quarterback at that pick. But, so here we go. Drew Lock is off the board. I'm glad we stayed on for this. Let's see what they gave up. But that's a savvy move by Denver. I want to see what the details of the trade are, but I think Elway finally got it.
I think saying savvy moves by John Elway is
it's weird. No, it feels weird saying it. And look, maybe he gave up like 3 firsts next year to do this, and I take that all back. But they get a good tackle, they get a quarterback.
Yeah,
good moves. Good moves.
Those
are two guys who some people had in the first round. They got in the mid
as you are.
But those are two guys who some people had going in the first round. They got in the middle of the second.
Yeah, that's fair. It's decent value.
And now I can stop asking if every pick is Drew Lock.
Yeah,
and now I start asking if every pick is Will Greer.
Yeah,
or Irv Smith.
So, we'll see what happens with it. I mean, I really thought that Denver would be on Drew Lock from the beginning.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying that Daniel Jones is the tallest quarterback, but he doesn't have the arm. They want a tall and big armed quarterback. They want Joe Flacco. They want Brock Osweiler. That's the type of guy that they want.
Al Wilson gets to do back-to-back picks. Pro Football Talk, we were talking about Mayock and taking Clemson and Alabama guys. Somebody phrased it better. Mayock was at the national championship game last year. 3 of his 4 picks so far played in that game.
Yeah.
Drew Lock. There you go. All right. So, Let's see now. Let's see what happens. And then, so now you got Detroit, Green Bay. Well, we're going to hop off here in a minute. So if you guys have any final questions, let us know. I just kind of want to wait till we get the details of this trade. And he went to Missouri. He's from that area, so he gets to stay local. It's a good spot for him. I think he's going to succeed there.
He seems excited about it. Good for him.
I mean, he just got drafted in the NFL.
Now you got to root for him because that's your boy.
It's tough because it's Denver, but yeah. No, I
got to do it.
Chanel, we couldn't help himself. At least he waited till the second round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm shocked that he waited this long.
I just want to see the details on this trade. I want to see what they gave up to get the back-to-back pick. All right, so Greedy now on the board at 43. So
I think Greedy's slipping.
So let me ask you this: considering who's on the board right now, Lions aren't taking a quarterback at 43. Packers, I still don't think they take a quarterback this high. I don't. I think they're more in the Tyree Jackson category. Falcons aren't taking a quarterback. Redskins took one last night. Panthers are. The Dolphins might at 48. Browns are not. Vikings are not. Titans maybe at 51. Pittsburgh's not. Philly's not. Houston's not. It lines up for Will Grier to the Patriots at 56. It does. Maybe. Unless Miami takes him.
I think you can take a player at 56 and wait till 60.
Okay, here's straight. 42 for 52, 125, and 182. Give up a lot.
Well, when the pick is going to be a quarterback, when the pick is for sale for a quarterback, it goes for a little bit more. See, now the Lions pick is in again.
Now they're rolling. Are we going to stay on? Are we going to go?
No, we're going to step away because we gotta get this done before the Patriots.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna step off for a little bit, kind of reconvene. We'll be back on. Dolphins pick is at 48.
Ian,
that's like right around the corner.
Rapsheet just tweeted the Patriots and Browns are among the teams having discussions about trading up. So I think the Patriots could be trading up.
And that would be 49.
I think they could be trading up soon.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna take a break here momentarily. We will be back at some point soon. Right, as soon as we know something with the Patriots, follow us on Twitter at PatriotsCLNS for all the updates. Been powered by BetOnline.ag. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks everybody for watching, and let's see what happens.